This is Wickham Sound.
Hello everybody, you're listening to The Archer on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain. This is the weekly show where we chat about the local arts news. We have a different guest each week. We play some indie and unsigned music. We head over to the Rhylight Zone for a short story and or some poetry. And we also head over to the Ilk Shed for a review, an album review from Twangling Jack Ford. My name is Dane Cobain, I'll be your host for the next hour. As always, you can reach out to me here at the studio by emailing dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. And I particularly want to hear from local creatives, musicians, poets, performers, anybody who has some interesting stuff to share, who might want to be a guest, or who might want to share some MP3s. You can also find us on Facebook if you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, and we're repeated here on Wickham Sound on Monday nights, and you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify and all of that stuff, as well as on the Listen Again on the Wickham Sound website. So, this week we are going to be chatting to Annette Valentine, who is a local songwriter, so we'll be chatting to her in a bit. But first we're going to head over to the Rhylight Zone, and this is a reading of Chapter 1 of one of my novels. So this is Formerly, The Rise and Fall of a Social Network by Dane Cobain, Chapter 1.
146,357 people die every day. That's 6,099 an hour, 102 a minute, or 5 every 3 seconds. Over 50 million people every year. How about that for a target audience? Looking back, I should have anticipated an unorthodox interview. I mean, how do you deal with a man who reduces human life and death to numbers and statistics? And once you learn to deal with him, how do you laugh, talk, eat, live, and work with him? Tech startups are notorious for their crazy founders, but John Myers took the biscuit. "Welcome to Formerly," my potential boss announced, gesturing to the chaotic room around him. "Sorry about the mess. We don't have many visitors." "I wonder why," I mumbled. The office looked more like a frat house. The place reeked of stale beer and sweat, and a pile of stinking clothes shuddered and then sat upright. It lifted a crusty hand in acknowledgement and said something vague about caffeine. "That's Kerry," said John. "He's our video guy. He's a useless but give him a camera and he's a machine. Morning, Kerry." "Morning, dude," he replied, shuffling out of his rags and into a semi-respectable pair of khaki shorts, flashing a glimpse of oversized thighs and off-white Y-fronts. He grabbed a starched Hawaiian shirt from the floor in front of the sofa, sniffed it to determine its freshness, and pulled it over his head. Then he hobbled over to meet us in the middle of the debris-strewn living room. He smelled even worse up close, somewhere between a cesspit and a brewery. "Don't ask, it's still rendering. I'm going to grab a shower." Yeah, John replied. He always says that. Sometimes I wonder what we pay him for. I watched Kerry retreat through a narrow doorway as John cleared a space for me on the sofa. I didn't really want to sit on it, but I didn't have much of a choice. It crunched as I sat down. Sofas aren't meant to do that. "So," John said, clapping his hands together, "let's get straight to business. After all, we're both men of business when all is said and done. Tell me what you know about our company." "Not much," I laughed nervously. "I can see that," John said. "You're wearing a suit for a start. But you must have looked us up before you applied to join the team." "Well," I replied, "I know the basic mechanics. You sign up, you post updates which are hidden from view, and then when you die, your profile goes live to the public. That's all you need to know. We plan to monetize death, Dan." As he spoke, a key turned in the latch and the front door opened, letting in the cold and the distant sound of traffic. "We're looking for a front-end developer, and you more than fit the bill in terms of qualifications and experience. But what about culture? Dedication? Think you can match us there?" "Hey, Flick." I turned to look at the newcomer, a pretty blonde woman who strolled into the room, pulled a MacBook Air from a tartan satchel and prepared to start work. She smiled sweetly at the two men who faced her. "Morning, John," she said. "Abby's here too. He's just parking the car." "Good lad. When he comes in, tell him to come and meet Dan. He's here about the developer job." "Hi, Dan," she said, as she logged into her machine. "I'm Felicity, but everyone calls me Flick." "Hi, Flick," I replied. "Nice to meet you. What's your role? You don't look like a typical programmer." "Thanks. That's probably because I'm not a programmer. I just do whatever needs doing. I'm in charge of PR and office management, but I spend half of my time cleaning this place up and half of my time looking after the boys. That doesn't leave room for much else." "How'd you fit it all in?" I asked. "I do a lot of unpaid overtime," she replied. "And you will too if you join us. Good luck with that." She smiled breezily and went back to her laptop. It's true, you know, John said grimly. I won't pretend otherwise. This job will take over your life, and if it doesn't take over your life, we'll fire you and take on someone who's more dedicated. I've worked at startups before. Not at this one you haven't, John replied. Ah, and here's Abby. Morning, boss, he said, looming in the doorway with a cup of coffee in each hand. The staff at Starbucks had written Abby on one of the cups. He kept this for himself and placed the other one in front of Flick. They never spell my name right, he complained, turning to look at John. How are you today? Pretty good. This is Dan. He's applying for the developer role. You think you can work with him? You like music, Dan? Of course, I replied. Me too, Abby said. I can't stand working in silence. Sounds like we're going to be friends. Abby is our back-end developer, John explained. That's right, boss. Can I get you guys a drink? No thanks, John replied. I'm sure you got something to work on. Besides, I need a real drink. You coming, Dan? It's 11 a.m. and I'm being interviewed, I said. So sure, why not? That's the spirit. Time doesn't exist in this place. We work when we can and we drink when we can. Let's go.
Okay, that was chapter 1 of Formerly by myself, Dane Cobain, for this week's instalment of the Rhylight Zone. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound, and this is Puddles by Clive Whitelock. I'm not sure if it's about a clown, but it makes me think of clowns.
Life's getting boring. I can't sleep at night 'cause my neighbor is snoring. All the same, what's my name? What's my game? How do I live? With these puddles in my head and I'm feeling half dead. Can't understand just how I do it. Puddles in my head and I'm feeling half dead. Can't understand just how I do it. Sitting in my room, my coffee cup empty. Sitting with my wallet and there's holes in my shoes. Feel like Napoleon just after Waterloo. Everything beckons, there's nothing to do with these puddles in my head. And I'm feeling half dead. Can't understand just how I do it. Puddles in my head, and I'm feeling half dead. Can't understand just how I do it.
Stacking up, skewering it up on the line. 5 a.m. I get up, not easy. 3 months rent to cough up, not easy. For romance in your cup, not easy. All the while it's green, you want it, velvet, sweet avocado. Balsamic oil and avocado, sweet avocado. easy. Speak your mind like Dane did in his life. Scream, you want it, velvet, sweet avocado. Dijon, balsamic oil and eat avocado. Sweet avocado. Star anise, cinnamon, cloves and curry leaves, fennel, coconut milk, paste and lower heat. Simmer gently, tomatoes and red chilies. Up the heat, up the heat, up the heat.
That was Avocado by Maz Manzini. Before that we had Puddles by Clive Whitelock. You're listening to The Archer on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain, and we're going to head over to this week's guest, who is Annette Valentine.
What was the last book that you read and what did you think of it?
It was about sage with the Native Americans, and I learned something about sage. When you're cleansing a home, instead of just using it like that, you have to actually use a feather and push the smoke into the corners of the house, which I didn't
Right.
in the room.
Cool. Awesome. So obviously mostly today I want to talk to you about music, lyric writing, all that kind of stuff. We're going to play some of your tunes on the show as well. But you mentioned as well your music journalism, and you've been reviewing albums and doing interviews and that sort of thing. So I wondered if you could let me know a little bit about that and, some of the highlights for you.
Yeah, well, I joined Star Now looking for singing work, and ended up on a journey of reviewing and interviewing rock stars, basically.
Cool.
Yes. So recent one before lockdown was Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Reviewed his music before it come on the radio, which is a really good moment to hear him before it comes on the radio. And I done Cream, the Sons of Cream.
Yeah.
Eric Clapton's nephew, Kofi Baker, Jack Bruce's son, Malcolm. It's all on my Facebook. It was just really good to meet them because them songs are timeless. So
yeah.
It was good. And I researched it. It was funny. I got the book about Cream, and it came from the library, and I spent all weekend reading it before I interviewed them and reviewed the music, obviously. And it was good to read all the history and where they were with the Sons of Cream now, what they're all doing. It was really interesting.
Cool. And obviously one of the things that you do yourself is you write songs. So do you just write lyrics? Do you write lyrics and music?
Yeah, I do lyrics and melody.
Brilliant. Cool. And what can you tell us about your songs? Like, what are some of the subjects that you write about?
Positive love, or just hurt, betrayal, jealousy, everything that everybody feels, because I'm quite an emotional person, so I'm all of that. Jealous, emotional.
Was kind of reflecting again that human experience, I suppose. And there are everyone has positive emotions and everyone has negative emotions, and we can all kind of relate to that, I suppose.
Yeah, that is right.
So and you obviously, going back to the music journalism and the Sons of Cream, for example, have you learned anything from doing that, from doing the album reviews and interviewing people, that you've then applied to your own songwriting?
Yeah, I think it does go hand in hand, to be honest, because you'll listen to the guitar when I review the shows. So I'm listening to the guitar, But I've always put my own lyrics to everything. It's like I've never really heard the songs that people have done. I've always made up my own because I've not quite taken it in. So it's like I was doing it all the way along. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all helps with the singing, the writing, and doing that just helps with the lyric writing and the music.
Yeah. And I guess as well, like, say, even if you're listening to, say, instrumental music, you can still pick up things that you might use for a melody, for example. And, you know, I can quite easily imagine putting lyrics to a lot of, like, and in fact, people have done it to classical music pieces that had no lyrics, and they've, you know, turned the piano line into a vocal line or something like that.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
And
or I might wake up with a tune as well, or lyrics. It's crazy.
have you ever had that, like something from a dream that you've then written down?
I have, yes. In fact, the first song, The Heart of the Rose, that I ever wrote, I dreamt to slow it down by 15%. And when I did that, it was perfect. So there you go.
That's cool. Well, that's what happened with Paul McCartney with Yesterday. He dreamed the melody to Yesterday, and because the original title for it was Scrambled Eggs as well. So it was just like scrambled eggs. We're lucky that he did rewrite it, though, fortunately.
Yeah, they're good lyrics.
So, and in terms of, again, like lyricists that are out there, who are some of your favourite lyricists, and what is it about their lyrics that you admire?
Good question. I like emotional lyrics.
Yeah.
Lyrics that make you feel. That's what I like to write. But yeah, every song has got some line in it I like, or a word, or a way, or a phrase. So from everyone, really.
Yeah.
I think everyone's got something in there. Everyone's got something in their song that could inspire the next song.
Yeah. And you see that, I mean, I suppose that's how music evolves, isn't it? You know, even a lot of the early sort of rock and rolls and rhythm and blues is what kind of inspired the Beatles, and then the Beatles inspired the next generation. Maybe they inspired things like Black Sabbath, who then inspired, you know, everything from, you know, heavy rock to electronic music and all of that kind of stuff. So it's all kind of building upon what came before.
Yeah, it's all art. It's that interpretation of that art that they saw at that time in that moment.
And would you say the lyrics that you write, I mean, I suppose they reflect your own life as well, and where you are in your own life at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose it is a way of journaling.
Yeah. It must be like difficult to because I suppose you're trying to get that balance of, you know, as you say, reflecting your own life, but also writing something that's accessible and that other people can relate to as well.
Yeah, so when I'm doing it about my life, I tend to integrate anything else that comes. It just flows, it just comes. So it finishes off either on a positive note or a dramatic note. Yeah, that is true.
Cool. And so again, talking about doing like both the lyrics and the melodies, what do you normally start with?
I start with the lyrics.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting, because you mentioned obviously how you have in the past like listened to songs and almost written your own lyrics to them, and I suppose that's the other way around there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've got quite good on the guitar. The guitar to me is a tool, so I can just sit there. Yeah. Sometimes there will be the tune that comes, but then my lyrics that I wrote the day before will fit that. It seems they just fit. So
yeah, cool. It's almost a little bit like sort of serendipity there, I suppose. So with your lyrics, do you keep like a lyric journal or something like that? Like how do you actually write your lyrics?
Yes, well, I write them down in a pad, so either like that or on a written one, and I just get them. When that's gone, that goes in the cupboard. And what I do is I do the tune for the yesterday's lyrics, and then I write today's lyrics for tomorrow's tune. So when I pick them up, the tune just comes. I don't know.
Yeah, that's quite. I was going to say that's quite a clever way of doing it.
Yeah, and then I email them to myself, so they're ready to rock and roll, basically.
Yeah, and you've got a record of them and all of that as well. I mean, how many songs would you say you've written?
700.
700? That's a lot.
I've been going through them today, so get a cup of tea, sit down, and then something will come, and then I start it at that point. and then go from there.
Well, I mean, you can always write as well, I suppose, about having nothing to write about.
Yeah, I've done that before. An empty page.
But again, that's something that people can relate to as well. You know, even if you're not, you know, traditionally creative or whatever it might be, like everybody's had to write an email or, you know, do something where they've been like, I have no idea how I'm going to start this, and you're just staring at a blank screen. And so it's another kind of relatable thing, I think.
It is, yes.
So in terms of, I guess, music in general, well, let's ask about music in general. Do you think lyrics are often like overlooked?
Yeah, I do, because they're the story, and if you can make somebody feel, then it's done its work.
Yeah, and I suppose as well with a song, you've got the melody and the lyrics, but they kind of generally go together anyway. And so, you know, like say something like Eleanor Rigby, for example, the music by itself is very expressive, but without the lyrics, it's only half of that story. Do you think? I mean, I suppose it's probably easier to write with rhymes. I mean, I guess there's kind of a constraint there, but in a way, I mean, I don't know if you'd agree, but I quite often find like constraints almost like fuel that creativity.
Yeah, it would do. Yeah, if you're not good at the rhyming, that would be a restraint. Yeah.
Is there a difference to you between writing, say, a verse and a chorus?
The chorus would be something that you repeat or has got a big impression on the song, so that you won't. I guess.
So you're almost again, say you're thinking about telling a story. It almost needs to be the bit with the hook, or the bit that tells the greater part of the story.
Yes, and then the bridge is almost equal, I would say, because it brings back to that story. Yeah,
cool. And I mean, I was going to ask you to maybe name some songs that have some of your favourite lyrics in, but I think as we've been talking about storytelling, I'd love to know like some of the songs you think do a really good job of telling a story.
Oh, yeah. I think it's how you interpret each song, but I do like Cream lyrics.
Yeah.
And I like lyrics that are quite direct and about the emotion.
Yeah. Well, I suppose those can be harder hitting. And actually, so with yourself, say, you know, you were to perform one of your songs, or even just recording them at home or whatever it might be, do you find that those direct emotions, do those kind of stir those emotions back up in you? So say you've written a song and you've been very, maybe, I don't know, let's say very angry at the time you were writing the song. If you were to come back to it in 2-3 weeks and to sing it again, or 2-3 months, 2-3 years, would that bring up those same feelings of anger?
Good point. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I suppose it depends upon the song as well.
It does. Yeah.
So have you done your song for today?
My lyrical thought.
Yeah, your lyrical thought.
I have. Yeah.
Can you share it with us?
Yeah, I need to go downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's called today, song 681, True Heart's Desire. When we're together in our embrace, I know I've arrived in my special place, where the world can look, but we won't see that there's love in the making, and it's happening to me. I'm so lucky I've found my true heart's desire. When I look in your eyes, you set my heart on fire. And the way you make me really feel, not just existing, but something more surreal.
Cool, nice. And so, do you share those on Twitter? Did you say?
I share 2 verses, not all of it. Just two that are emotional, I would say. The 2 emotional ones that go well together.
Yeah, cool. So, do you ever perform your songs? Do you ever sing them at events?
I have done, yeah. The latest one was at the Arts Centre.
Yeah.
And the first one I did, The Heart of the Rose, I used to sing that with a band that I was in at the very beginning, which was about 5 years ago, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. I can't sing them all, there's just too many. So
Yeah.
I'd like to give some
Yeah.
other people to perform and make them their own.
You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain. I'm here in conversation with Annette Valentine, and it's time for some music. So this is one of Annette's songs.
I'm still thinking over what you just said, that what happened way back, we were only late. The lack of true communication, both doing right by the other, a sad story by its cover. If we had been honest and let our feelings show, we could have taken a different path, but how were we to know? Now the loving feelings have returned and I'm confused, holding on to negative emotions by a heart that got so bruised. Now the hardness is melting and friendship has come over me. If we had been honest and let our feelings show, we could have taken a different path, but how are we to know? Now the hardness is melting and friendship has come over me. Who knows where destiny will take us? Water under the bridge flows free. If we had been honest and let our feelings show, we could have taken a different path, but how are we to know? I feel a healing happening, even though it was long ago. Maybe it's time for happiness, if I just take it slow, if I just take it slow. If I want to love again without the baggage of the past, I need to release some pain for a new love to last. If we had been honest, let our feelings show, could have taken a different path, but how are we to know? If we had been honest, let our feelings show, we could have taken a different path, but how are we to know? How are we to know? How are we to know?
That was a song by Annette Valentine, who's this week's guest. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and I'm here in conversation with songwriter Annette Valentine.
Again, I guess like talking about performing them, if you could like perform in any venue anywhere, where would you most like to sing your songs?
Glastonbury would be a good place.
Cool. So in terms of music, like what is it about music that you love? Is it the storytelling or?
It is the music as well. I love a good piece of music. I think it carries itself sometimes without any lyrics, and it's just, it can move you a hell of a lot. It's just emotional in the music. You know, the music sometimes has its own built-in lyrics, and it moves me just on its own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose coming back to that storytelling thing, the music itself often tells a story. And again, I think especially with classical music, I don't know whether that's just because we're so used to it and it's sort of culturally ingrained in us, you know. But there are certain pieces of classical music, like even like the Wedding March. If you play the Wedding March, everybody knows what that means, and in itself, that piece of music tells a story, you know.
Yeah, it does.
Cool. So what made you want to write lyrics as opposed to poetry?
Well, I actually heard your show the other day, and I was trying to catch on to it because there was somebody on there that said what the difference between lyrics and poetry was, and there isn't much difference really.
Yeah.
So I think they're all the same, to be honest.
Well, I was actually going to ask you that as well, like whether you think song lyrics, are they poetry, and if not, are they different? And you know, Dave always says that poems are just like song lyrics that nobody's found a tune to yet.
I like that. Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And you see it often as well. I mean, I suppose there is sort of spoken word music out there. But also equally, you see like bits of music where people have taken a poem and turned the poem into lyrics as well. So it's just, I guess finding a way for them to cross over there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Music, I guess it'll carry it, won't it?
Yeah. And I suppose as well, poetry does the similar thing in that it often tells a story as well.
Yeah, it does. I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
That people can relate to.
Yeah. Cool. So just one more question to end on, really, which is it's two actually. So the first one is what have you got planned next? So I assume you're still going to be doing your daily song.
Oh yeah, I'll always do that. Yeah. Daily lyrical thought. Yeah.
Cool. And do you have any other plans for the music? I guess as you say, you're looking for people who might want to perform some of the songs.
Yeah, I'd really like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So if anyone's looking for lyrics or lyrics and melody, and when if any of the bands want an interview or a review, and then I can say to them, if you want lyrics or music, it all goes hand in hand for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really nice way of thinking about it. Yeah, cool. And so if people did want to sort of work with you, how can they contact you? Where can they find you?
Either an email address or on Facebook, Twitter, Annette Valentine, Instagram, message me. Yeah, all my details are on my Twitter anyway. So
yeah,
Facebook. Yeah,
and that's where they can get some. I guess they can go back through some of your lyrics as well. So they won't be the full songs, but they can get some of your lyrical thoughts.
That's right. Yeah.
Big thank you to Annette Valentine for joining me. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and this is She Has a Way by Robert Honor, previous guest on the show.
She has a way. She has a way. She has a way to see beyond the horizon and show no surprise. As the sun burns her eyes, she has a way that she straps up her boots, shoelaces tied in a noose, in a leopard pantsuit, just scream her name. She has a way. I gotta say, the way she enters a room, it's like she's howled at the moon, a sudden bringer of doom. I'm not okay. Her skin is perspiring, that makes my desiring harder than fire, no mistake. She has a way. She seals her fate. Oh, she's fixing the game, a tyrannical reign. She's the queen of insane. Oh, the pain, but she's worth every bandit. She's so heavy-handed, the siren has landed. Not just today, she'll always have her way. So hard to take, the others do well. They're avoiding a spell, a
Is it pure lunacy to fall into your arms? It's this that bothers me, an internalized alarm. Please make me happy, but treat me mean, and I won't panic, 'cause you're my queen. She walks, she strides with a mission, a strange disposition with no indecision. If you get caught, she shows no forgiveness. She's nothing but business. You don't want to witness the fall. No, not at all. She has a way to ensure you don't stray, returning day after day. Moral decay, she has a way. She's more thunder than lightning, oppressive and frightening, but the rumble's exciting. You get the shakes. She has a way. She has a way. She has a way. She has a way.
I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am gentle autumn rain. I'm 1,000 winds that blow. I'm the diamond glints on snow. The river as it bends, go to rainbow's end. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I'm not there, I do not speak. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I'm not there, I didn't die. Never be apart, I didn't die. As long as I'm in your heart. When you awaken in the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of wild birds in circled flight. The soft stars that shine at night, the ocean's crashing waves, 1,000 sunny days. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I'm not there, I do not sleep. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I'm not there, I didn't die. Never be apart, I didn't die. As long as I'm in your heart, I didn't die. We'll always be a team, I cannot die. As long as I'm in your dreams, and I'm a waterfall, I'm a candlelight. flight. A wedding ring, I'm neon bright, and I'm a harvest moon, I'm getting wet. The ocean spray, I'm a red sunset. A favorite song, I'm starry nights. A shooting star, I'm a sudden pride. A fairground ride, I'm skies of blue. A spinning top, I'm a mountain view. I am, I am. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I'm not there. I do not sleep. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I'm not there.
That was Didn't Die in Memoriam mix by Colin Upfield, and before that we had She Has a Way by Robert Honor. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain, and it's time to head over to the Oak Shed for this week's album review, courtesy of Twangling Jack Ford.
The essential Simon and Garfunkel, or any other Simon and Garfunkel compilation. I found the essential Simon and Garfunkel in the Beaconsfield Oxfam Book and Music Shop. £2.50 or thereabouts. I actually own 4 of the 5 Simon and Garfunkel albums, but I would still recommend buying this compilation. You might think you want the Bridge Over Troubled Water album. It is one of the biggest selling records of all time. I have owned it both on vinyl and CD, and I probably also made a cassette of it. It is a hard album not to become totally immersed in. Every song is sumptuous. It is a big, sweet, naughty but nice, stodgy gâteau of an album that you will want to keep taking bites out of till there is nothing left other than a slight feeling of nausea and a desire never to listen to it again. What you want, though, is the song America, a song so poetic that people are surprised when I point out that it contains absolutely no rhyming couplets. You will also want the Sound of Silence, and don't say the Disturbed version is better. That is like preferring Chaz and Dave's Eine Kleine Nacht music. You might want Homeward Bound, Scarborough Fair, Mrs. Robinson, I Am a Rock, Hazy Shade of Winter. What you really want is this compilation, which gives you the single they recorded a few years after the split, and is only on one of each of their solo albums. My Little Town, which is one of my favourites. I come from a big town, but now I live in a little town, where nothing but the dead are dying. I would love to count the cars on the New Jersey Turnpike, and I know we are all just trying to keep the customers satisfied, but we are faking it. The essential Simon and Garfunkel.
Big thank you to Twangling Jack Ford for this week's album review. Thank you to Annette Valentine for being this week's guest, and to everyone whose music I've played. As always, you've been listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain. You can reach out to me here at the studio. Drop me an email on dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. I would love to hear from you. You can also find us on Facebook if you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, and we're repeated on Monday nights here on Wickham Sound. We're on the Wickham Sound Listen Again, and you can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So that's about it for this week. I'm going to leave you with one last tune, and this is Dizzy Fish with their version of She's So Lovely. I'll see you next week.
She's pretty, offending, She's got a boyfriend, oh, and that's a pity. She's flirting to 30, and at the age the girl gets really dirty. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I love the way she bites her lip. I love the way she shakes her hip. I love the way she makes me cool. I think that she is beautiful. She's so lovely, 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 she's so lovely. A stunner, I want her. Was she this fit when she was 10 years younger? Come see me, you're screaming. She says she's got a thing or two to teach me. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I think that you are lovely. 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 I think that you are beautiful. She's so lovely. 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 I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we'll make it through this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. when you come back home. Well, it feels rain, it doesn't matter. Rain, it doesn't bother you. Do you feel it tonight? Pain, it doesn't matter. Staying's what you're built to do. Do you feel it moving on and on and on when you're happy in the rain? It's getting harder. You feel it rising. The only escape is just too frightening to consider. A mind of thunder, spirit lightning, crashing slowly, 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 slowly.